to another episode of the Rich Ad Poor Ad podcast. How you doing, Dylan?
Hey, doing good. Ready to crank this one out. This is going to be a juicy one.
It is, man. Today we got on the show the partners and founders of GrowRev agency. These guys manage $40 million a year in ad budget across all channels. You name it. These guys are at the top of the game, and I'm so excited to have them on the show. It's actually pretty hilarious, Dylan, wouldn't you say? Like the actual rich ad, poor ad combo that they've sent over.
Yeah, this bad ad's the definition of something that'll get you shut down. So I'm pretty excited to kind of dive in.
It'll send you to the poorhouse super quick. That's for sure. But these guys manage the ads for some pretty big influencers online, spending upwards of $25K a day, and with some household names that I'll let them name drop. But without further ado, let's welcome Rohan and Matt Farmer to the show.
Thanks for having us, Zach and Dylan. We're excited for this one.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for popping on. I'm so excited. I would love to start by maybe Rohan, tell everybody a little bit about how awesome GrowRev is and the agency, and then would love to dive in a little bit about your guys' background pre-agency.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt and I have run GrowRev coming up on 6 years together now. Been in the industry. Matt's been in the industry coming up on, I think, 11 years. I've been in the industry 9 years. And the way Matt and I kind of came together was I was heavy direct response, kind of the affiliate-esque world and selling random shit online through paid advertising. I love media buying. But I went into the agency world, and then me and Matt have known each other since pre-2007, 2008. Economic collapse, and he saw me transition into the media buying world, and he's like, what the hell are you doing here? And kind of one thing led to another. Being good friends prior to, he told me what he was running, and I'm not going to ruin that for this podcast. I'm going to let Matt talk about his background and the stuff that he's done. I was just like, all right, Matt, I've built this agency to a certain level. I'm going to just hand you 50% of this bloody company, and we're going to take this and scale this thing to the roof, because I knew he would perform, and he knew I could sell. So that's kind of how our initial partnership came into play. Fast forward to today, we've got a team we're based out of Vancouver, Canada. We've got a team, majority of our team's in Canada. We've got a couple guys that work with us in the United States, and then we're very actively building a team out in Australia as we manage, 40% of our clients is in Australia, and we manage 3 of the top spending info accounts in Australia right now. So that's kind of the overall GrowRev, and then Matt, I'll kind of tee this one off to you so that you can kind of come in and introduce the media buying side.
Yeah, no problem at all. So I've been doing this for about 11, 12 years right now. Before I partnered up with Rohan, I worked with a company called Digital Brand Services. We had some absolutely massive clients. So we worked with people like the Olympics, Sky Sports, ATP Tennis, ICC Cricket, pretty much everybody in the sporting world we worked with and spent a pretty significant amount of money. I partnered up with Rohan because I was really tired of share of voice advertising. I'm direct response at heart, and I love seeing a good old ROI and, optimizing around that versus hit 100% of boxing fans in the US. It just gave me a lot more purpose. So partnered up with Rohan, really kind of went down. We specialize in info and events, but we also do a lot of stuff around e-commerce, etc. Because I've been in the industry so long, I've rode the wave. So started with Google Ads, went to Facebook back when I thought Facebook would never be a good platform, and that proved me wrong. And now, because of Facebook, we jump into stuff as early as we can. So the latest network we've been jumping on is TikTok, and it's been pretty amazing so far.
That's awesome, man. That's super cool. Now, you guys have some pretty monster trophy clients. I would love to have you guys name drop some of the people you guys have been able to help out in the last year or so.
In the last year or so, a couple of clients we've run traffic for, mastermind.com. So that's obviously Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins combination there. And then just in the recent months, we picked up a tiny little company called ClickFunnels. I'm just joking. We're helping them and their internal teams scale some of their traffic. So those are 2 household names I think most people recognize. And then we've done tons. If you're in Australia, one of the companies that we work with is Knowledge Source, and they're a monstrous client for that part of the world.
For that part of the world over there. I love it. Man. I always tease Rohan. I'm like, one of our core values at Funnel Dash is to not do business with Canadians and stuff. But
Too late.
We've set our differences aside today. Excited to have you guys on the show. What should we start with first? You guys want to dive into the rich ad or the poor ad? What do you think? Let's give it over to Matt. What do you think, Matt?
I think the poor ad, just because a poor ad's not going to take much to go over. It really quickly becomes a poor ad, and can sacrifice Facebook accounts, business managers. This thing is a gem.
So let's just talk about how poor you can get in the poorhouse with an ad like this. You not only, like, if you're spending, like, getting your business manager shut off, getting your ad account deleted is one thing, but Rohan and Matt have used the word before this podcast, deplatformed, which it's a very rare term, but it sounds so scary. What does that even mean? What does the word deplatformed mean?
Basically, when you get deplatformed, and they do it for certain people and influencers, I'm not going to drop too many names of who they've actually, because we know some insiders that have got literally, especially in the affiliate world, people who run an affiliate course and maybe have a nickname like Rax, people like that, where if you mention his name in an ad, it's banned and you can lose your business manager. But in general, deplatforming isn't just lose it. It used to be back in the good old days. You just lose your ad account, then you'd create a new one, get a new credit card, life would be good. It's not so simple anymore. Facebook's really smart with this. So they pretty much, they like fingerprint your device. They'll delete your ad account. They'll ban your business manager. You could lose personal access too. That's when it really starts to get nasty. And then if you keep breaking the rules, they literally, your entire, like, your name will be pretty much deplatformed from the platform. So if there's any ads where they try to mention you, for example, they pretty much automatically get deleted out or banned out from the AI. So they could do an absolutely amazing job at banning you from the platform.
And their platform really is, like, half the internet, right? So, like,
yeah, that's it.
Online presence. I mean, I don't know if it ever bleeds into Instagram too, but like that could be pretty devastating for somebody.
Mm-hmm. And even delete your Facebook page. So it doesn't even matter the size of influencer either. We worked with one who had, millions of followers, and they were literally going to delete his Facebook page. And they'll take your groups too. So they'll take your groups away, your Facebook, anything that they can take from you, they pretty much will. So yeah, 2020 is the year of clients. Yeah.
The online purge.
Yeah, they're coming for you.
Now, with this poor ad, were you able to get this one active, or just to get disapproved immediately?
For this ad that I posted?
Yeah.
This actually isn't an ad that I ran, because we do internal. So we specialize in policy at our GrowRev. So we do policy consulting for companies, et cetera. We do a weekly meeting where all our media buyers, they have to go out and scour the internet to find ads that are non-compliant. So every week we have a theme. It'll be like, this theme is MLM or misleading claims, for example, personal attributes, which is this one. So we get all of our media buyers, they have to bring back at least 2 to 3 ads under each category pretty much every single week. And then we have basically a discussion about it, why or why not. Because some of them, it also helps you find really good workarounds, because sometimes they'll bring one to the table where it's like, wow, these guys found a really tricky way to not use a personal attribute or to not do a misleading claim. And, there's lots of different strategies there. So yeah, this one was definitely one of the gems from those meetings.
Okay. So let's dive into this ad. So you're not running this ad, just to be super clear, because you guys obviously don't run ads like this, but we'll throw it up in the show notes, and it says, "Are you over 40, struggling with hair loss?" Keeps sells the only 2 FDA hair loss treatments, which are 90% effective at preventing hair loss. Limited time offer, 50% off 3 months. Start your regrowth challenge in June. And then there's literally a picture of a dude with, like, he's faceless. He has, like, no eyes, and it just focuses on his hair.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they maybe thought they could get around personal attributes by not giving them eyes.
Yeah, maybe. I guess they're like, we beat Facebook on this one. And then the headline on the ad says, hair loss can be optional. That's kind of a weird headline. 50% off for 3 months. All right, break it down.
Okay, so this ad is not running anymore. I checked before we talked. It obviously got disapproved. This is one of the biggest things that people do, and it's personal attributes. You can't call out attributes about a person, and or how they feel or anything. So if I had an ad where it was like, "You always feel sad," we'll go with GrowRev because you'll be happy all the time. You know, but this one, because are you over 40? So you can't call out people's age. Like you can't say, are you 19? Are you 18, etc. People, Facebook wants to prevent that because it also shows the general public how much information we have access to, and it makes people feel not good. Or even saying something like, are you fat? They don't want to have a negative experience with their ads where you read the ads and kind of feel bad about yourself. So they're all about that positive connotation. But really, with these personal attributes, like are you over 40? They broke it there, and then struggling with hair loss ? You cannot say that. That is a completely bannable offense. You could completely lose your account for that. They don't want you to call out these attributes because anyone who's scrolling through, and let's say you are over 40 losing hair, you instantly start to feel bad about it. And it's a negative user experience. And personal attributes is one of the most I'd say it's one of the most overlooked and banned policies that we see in general. You can't, and especially you see it a lot
What about
in
personality? Like if I wanted to say, you have an awful personality, like what extent, how far can this personal attributes? Because like that's pretty broad. Like
No, it is, but you still understand why that they block it. But you just you never want to take for granted what people are thinking or feeling. Like it's pretty much blanket for that. So it could be like you could even have something weird, like you sometimes feel happy and then sad and then happy. That calls them out. Or do you sometimes try to put on pants and trip and fall over? um, it's a personal attribute. You can't call that out. There's definitely ways around it. You could say men over 40 that are struggling with hair loss love our product because you're not asking them. And a lot of people, they avoid the word "you" in their copy. There is ways that you can use it, but usually if you're asking them a question like, "Do you feel?" It's best to stay away from that. And in general with ads, I find it's always better to go from a positive connotation than a negative as well. So you don't want to make people feel bad. Like if anything, if it was me advertising this, I'd do a case study about, someone who, had great results and they unlocked some great stuff in their life from it. And it's about them instead of being about the actual person and how horrible they feel that they're currently losing hair.
Okay, so let's talk about. So obviously, you guys aren't running this ad, right? And let's talk about how quickly can something like this put somebody in the poorhouse? I want to hear. You don't have to name names, but I want to hear a horror story of like how much money can an ad like this really cost somebody? Like how poor is this going to make somebody if they actually get their manager or their ad account banned? I mean, I've heard people, 500 grand a month plus, and their ad accounts shut down, and like there goes an 8-figure business. Like
and it's the whole opportunity cost of losing your account too. So we had a client that was spending like 25,000 a day, a really big influencer, and they lost their business manager during a launch. So it's not like they had to completely scrap the launch, but it was majority. It was 70% of their traffic. Of course, they had affiliates in YouTube, and multi-network is the best way to make sure you're still safe. But at the same time, it's like that opportunity cost of them not being able to spend 70% of their budget literally cost them millions of dollars. And then they had the headache of trying to get everything back and even losing personal access to the platform. So they didn't have access to their page. They couldn't post updates. They couldn't do anything and even leverage their organic audience from it. So it's like it was still successful. They're able to run it through other channels, but at the same time, it literally cost them millions of dollars in opportunity.
Millions. Not one, two.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I even heard horror stories of individual access getting restricted where they can't go in to turn off the ads and they're just spending. So that's a nightmare.
Yeah, that happens a lot too. Sometimes if you get personal banned, then it doesn't fully link. Like when your ad account's banned, everything gets paused. But if you get personally deplatformed, you just don't have access to anything anymore and it will continue to spend. And we've had a couple horror stories where it literally like, they had to start doing chargebacks and eventually Facebook just stopped charging them. But it was a potential nightmare that would have cost them, tens of thousands of dollars in ad spend because they're promoting something that had a life to it. So it was an offer that, expired. So they're still advertising their Thanksgiving deal, like Black Friday, and we're on our way to December pretty much.
I love it. So don't run an ad with personal attributes, and it'll cost you millions when you get your ad account and your business manager banned. Worst case, you get deplatformed. What are some other things outside of personal attributes that people should not have in their ads that can save them from this?
One of them is misleading claims, and that one is very straightforward, but a lot of people break it, and that's a lot of the time what happens is yeah, they'll claim that you can make $1 million. They'll make all these claims, cure diabetes. That's a great one. All those products that you see get pushed around. So misleading claims is also a pretty big one. One of the really misunderstood ones is MLM and BizOp. A lot of people don't know that BizOp is actually allowed on Facebook. MLM is not, but BizOp definitely is not allowed. BizOp is allowed. MLM is definitely not allowed. So with BizOp, you just have to. So what happens is, and there's so many people that run webinars and they don't know this, where you just have to define what it is before you actually send them into on the funnel. You just have to define what it is. So an example of how you can break this is a lot of people advertise free webinars, and you actually can't call it a free webinar anymore. That's against policy. That will get you banned out, or at least your ads disapproved. Because if you're selling something on the back end inside the webinar, they don't consider it free because it's basically you're going through a sale and the product itself isn't free. So you're allowed to actually advertise it. You just have to define on your landing page what exactly it is that you're selling them into. So you could basically say you have a webinar that's going to, show them your program that costs $2,000 on how to rank on SEO or whatever. You just have to, a lot of people don't realize you have to define it, and free gets used a lot. And they never used to crack down on this, but now they do quite a bit where, if it's your free webinar, your free webcast, or if you're lying and saying, my one-time webcast, which is an auto webinar that runs every 15 minutes, then they'll start to hit you with stuff like that.
And what about before and afters? Yeah, that's a hot one. I'd love to hear how y'all get around.
Well, before and after is only for stuff like weight loss. A lot of people don't realize there is a lot of before and afters that you can actually run. Like, for example, we have a photography client where we can run before and afters. It's just there's some situations where you can't run them, and you just have to know what they are. But even for stuff like we've had ones where it's like where it teaches users how to invest in real estate, and we can show a before and after of that house. But on the health side, of course, you can't. They'll hit you really hard for that. So there is situations where before and afters are completely fine, but definitely don't do it in the health space because that's where they nail you.
I love it.
Total sense. I'm definitely.
I love it. Okay, so let's move on to the fun part. Let's move on to the rich ad segment here. Dylan, why don't you kick this thing off? Let's read it. Read us this ad here.
Yeah, so I was lurking on this one when you sent it over, but it looks like we get cheat sheets that will help you understand the basics. So it looks like a solid little lead magnet, killer creative. I clicked through, but of course, to download it now, I got to give you my email. I love it. You want to go in depth on how that kind of worked out for it? This is honestly super juicy. I know you mentioned you've sold hundreds of thousands, millions of these.
Yeah, no, and highly recommend. This is one of my clients, so go buy all his products. He's an absolute legend. But this was an example of just it was pivoting for the current situation that shall not be named. That's another ad policy. But really, so we do a lot of direct response with this guy, and we have tons of ads that go directly to a landing page, and we do great. We get really good ROI from it. But during the first part of the whole situation, what happened was, everything kind of dropped out for a little bit. There was like a 2-week period where advertisers somewhat felt it. So we wanted to pivot. And what we saw got really cheap and is still true during this time is you could lead gen for almost nothing right now. So like building an audience has never been cheaper, but if you have a paywall at the front, it's pretty expensive. So like let's say a free plus book funnel, or a free plus ship book funnel, they're a lot more expensive now, and it's almost because like we're advertising in a bull market. People are trying to just justify their ad spend within the first click pretty much, and just feed the machine. But for this, we decided he's really good at email marketing and he picks up a ton from it. So there's a couple strategies here that we use. Number one, it goes to an advertorial, so it doesn't even go directly to the offer. And what we did is we got part of his product and we gave it away for free, and that is what works really well right now. You can get so just to name the metrics, we're paying around 30 to 40 cents per lead on this ad.
Oh my.
So yeah, it's insanely cheap because it's advertising something free and it's content. It's going to an advertorial, so you get all the advantages there. And then once you get to the advertorial, in order to get the free cheat sheet, so we're giving away a piece of the product to get people addicted, show them the quality. It is a really good product and people absolutely love it. So we give it away in order, and then they give us their email. And then after they give us their email, they're sent directly to the funnel that they'd normally go to. And what we noticed is we're literally generating, hundreds of thousands of emails every single month. And he's been seeing the amount that he makes from, because they have quite a bit of product. So once they get an email, they could really monetize it. But the craziest part was after they went through this funnel, because costs were so cheap on the front end for the click and for the opt-in and just to get them through, it's actually higher ROI than just doing a direct response ad directly to the actual product page. So sending them through this, grabbing a lead from it, and then in the end actually making more profit was pretty unbelievable. So
I'm not even seeing where you capture the lead. Like
well, you can't really tell because you click to download it, or if you hit next. So if, let's say, for example, you click on the cheat sheet, it'll pop up, ask for your email address in order for you to get it. So you just put in your email address. And then after you do that,
gotcha.
And then what we do is we sell them a lower ticket version, but there's lots of upsells, etc. So even though after that we sell them the cheat sheets for $7, that's the essential. Then from there it upsells, and he's an absolute legend when it comes to direct response and landing pages and everything. So they get upselled, and the cart value is probably like 3 to 4 times that. So basically, we're able to lower our click costs, get more people to click through. So now our remarketing lists are bigger. We got an email from it. So anyone that doesn't convert, we can hit them up with other offers. And then after going to the to buy the product, we have a higher ROI than we did previously. So I think it's just a really good example of pivoting. And I find during these times, you want to give away something for free. And we're doing that with a lot of clients right now. It used to be where we qualify them with, purchasing something, etc. Right now, I'm more trying to list build, because if I can get an email for under $1, I wasn't able to get an email for under that before this whole situation. So it's amazing how well it's worked compared to the actual other ads. Of course, we're still running the other ads, but this just absolutely inflates our remarketing lists, our email lists, and we've had amazing results from it.
Now, with that, coming from a media buyer's perspective, on the front end side, are you going ahead and optimizing for those emails out of the gate, or optimizing for purchase, and whoever gets the email, and so be it?
We're optimizing for purchase just because that is the main goal. I find when I optimize around lead, because it is a worldwide product, then we'll start to get the third world countries coming in at 1 cent leads. This guy's account is insanely well seasoned. So I have an audience that's 1.7 billion people, and it's extremely ROI positive as long as I optimize around purchase, but not around lead. So right now, for this product, I'm always optimizing around purchase, and Facebook Pixel seasoned enough that it does the work properly.
Yeah, that's snazzy. So what's the kind of conversion rate from the individuals getting the free little cards to actually convert to some sort of paid package? The 20%, 30%? Do you have any kind of those numbers there?
Yeah, I could kind of go over the brief numbers. We have about a 60% opt-in rate, and out of the users that opt in, we're seeing around from 25 to 40, depending on the day. Yeah, 25 to 40 taking the $7 offer and upselling from there, which is pretty unbelievable.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's so much data. That's awesome there. Heck yeah. Now, if you could change anything about this, what would it be to kind of optimize this whole entire funnel for the most part?
I think the funnel is really well done. We are trying different things with it. There's quite a bit. I think on the ad side, it can be optimized a bit more, and I could try some more variants. As you notice, the text of the ad is very short, and it's strange for this kind of stuff. Long form used to be work really well, but we ran a couple versions of this, and one of our best performers literally just has in brackets new blog post as the ad text. Um, so I definitely want to do some more testing around text, see if I could get any wins there. Also, some video. I think some video would do really well for it. It was one of those things where we just, we got it, made it fast. It was hard for us to do video creative of it because everybody's locked in their own houses, so we couldn't get film crews, etc. So, yeah, I probably and then. On the landing page side for the actual advertorial, I wouldn't change much. We've tested a lot of advertorials. So honestly, when you do this advertorial strategy, there's huge advantages to it. And it's why we always push people to multi-network, because if you do OutBrain and Taboola and you can get an advertorial to properly convert, when you push them over to Facebook, you get significant advantages to it. So even though it is another step in the funnel, your click cost is so low, it builds up your remarketing list, and it just gives you a ton more opportunity to convert people. So once you have a really good advertorial locked in, which may honestly it can take from 10 to 20 different tries before you find one that really works. Like once you've cracked that, it works extremely well on Facebook, and you could run it alongside your direct response ads. And it's just a really good way of scaling spend. And when you're constantly trying to spend more and more and more every single month, and you're in the hundreds of thousands, you really, any opportunity you get, whether it's going out to more countries or just finding more funnels that you can throw at it, the better it is. And because this one generates so many clicks, it helps all the other campaigns too. So I probably wouldn't change this advertorial. Highly recommend anyone watching, take a look at it and just understand what's happening. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And if you have a product where you can give away a little bit of it for free, advertorial is one of the best ways to do it, in my opinion.
Oh man. Well, shoot, Zach, we got a we got a rich ass ad right here.
I love it.
I mean, to recap, we got an ad that can shut you down and an ad that can make it rain. So I mean, that's pretty.
How much did you say you guys were spending on this campaign?
I won't give exact, but it's hundreds of thousands per month.
There you go. There you go. That's awesome. Congrats. You're a big deal.
Yeah, that's part of the funnel. That's beautiful. Man, that geeks me out.
I think you're really on point there, though, Matt. Like, really updating the funnel to like your like a free book plus shipping. Those are expensive to run now, and especially in this environment. I mean, just if you reflect back in March, I mean, there was all kinds of email campaigns and promotions of like, we're giving away XYZ for free. But really building that into the ad campaign, I think it's the right move. So gosh, congrats on you and your client for being able to like push through that all the way through to ads and not just like some email announcement to the customer list.
Yeah, that's quite a little study there. But I mean, this has been awesome, y'all. I mean, how can anybody kind of get in touch with y'all if they want to kind of check out some, case studies or check out y'all's site, LinkedIn? What's the kind of best bet for kind of somebody to get in kind of touch with y'all over there?
The best way for people to get in touch with us is going to be obviously just going to growrev.com, which is our website. That's kind of where we have a lot of the stuff. We are launching a new website here, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, where it's going to have all of our case studies, exactly what we kind of talked about with Matt's running, and just kind of breaking things down, even from the policy end to why going multi-network and how that's been benefiting clients, et cetera. But growrev.com. And then if you're on socials, the best way is just to find me on social, because that's the majority of where a lot of the fun stuff happens. And Instagram is just Rohan _Sheth.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, well, shoot.
Rohan and Matt, you guys are legends. Tell us a little bit about what's next for you guys. Where are you taking the agency? Where do you guys see yourself in the next couple of years?
Next for us is pretty much going to be scaling what we have already built. Obviously, we've kind of hit the epitome on one end of info. So obviously kind of taking all that knowledge and, helping as much of the masses as we can from the info side, that people have got offers that are converting, that are just stuck, whether they're stuck at 1,000 a day or, 2,500 a day, and they want to get to that 10,000 plus a day. Those like where we're kind of going down that route. And one of the things that we're really excited for, and we're going to chat a lot, I think, post podcast, is going to be partnering with you guys and then all of our smaller clients through that we've kind of picked up through COVID and the last few months of craziness, is just going to be helping people just rebound with some funding, and then help them get their marketing together and kind of scale there. So we're actively building a lower tier to our agency, because a lot of the times the last little bit, GrowRev has kind of been niched into that high ticket agency where it's working with the clients that we've kind of mentioned. But now it's like, okay, let's make a bigger difference with what we can, and obviously with products that you guys are offering, it's a perfect opportunity for us to scale.
Yeah, you guys are a little bit of an elitist. Let's just be real. You guys are the best. I love it. Well, you guys have been super awesome and gracious of opening up and giving us a little bit of peek into the numbers, but also being very respectful to your clients. So I hats off to you guys for just doing that in taste, but also really feeding the feel to the audience. I think everyone's going to really appreciate this episode. That's it. Dylan, take it away, man. This was an awesome episode. Give us a little recap. Let's close it out.
Yeah. I mean, y'all, thanks for tuning in. I mean, shoot, if somebody wants to figure out how to get banned, that poor ad, the best way to get into it, want to figure out how to have a really cool content marketing kind of lead gen funnel, best way to knock it out there. So, I mean, hey, y'all check this out. If any questions pop up, y'all feel free to reach out and, reach out to our guests here.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Rohan.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.